Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with a Wolverine and the X-Men bonus episode, kinda technically, Hulk versus Wolverine. I'm JC, and I just want to make sure you are checking out our Instagram lately, because I have been opening the X-Men 97 Topps Finest cards. I'm showing the best hits I've gotten so far. We have a die-cut Goblin Queen, and then we have a 1 of 99 laser etched. God damn, that lighting is brutal.
Looks good though.
Yeah, it's a laser refractor Cyclops. So there's literally only 99 or 199 of this card.
They do remind me. They did a good job of like capturing that 90s Fleer vibes. I know that's a dirty word to say around Topps, but like,
yeah, I mean, it literally is Topps Finest, which was a 90s set too. But yeah, I got at least 38 reels of that going up at some point, and Rod will eventually add those to TikTok. Hopefully.
TikTok also just now, or maybe last week, added the ability to schedule posts. So good job 6 years later.
Before you get taken down.
April 5th, we got one more month as of recording until, who knows. What's funny is, like, this is one time I agree that the government has a lot of other things to deal with. Then TikTok's gonna stay around.
Yep.
And I'm Rod. At the time of recording, I don't know, but like, there's a heavy chance that I have COVID from a really big celebrity. So if that ends up being true, then maybe I'll share that on socials when this posts. But I'm 12, not even 12, like 6 hours into the 48-hour waiting period to find out from the test or not. I think I feel okay, but also it's raining in LA, so it could be allergies. Who knows? Anyway. Like to introduce, Pablo. Pablo, what do you do?
What's up? You forgot to mention that it originated, though, from a much bigger celebrity.
Well, that was the only one I was going to cite.
Yeah. Not the direct contact.
Yeah, no,
the one who it came from.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hello, I'm Pablo. I am from the Deeper Issues Nerdcast. Fan of the show. I was going to say I just commented on those card opening videos today.
That's why I said it, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're really nice. I was like, man, something about these is just really gratifying. So I fell down a rabbit hole on TikTok of just people opening cards, and I'm just like, I'm really into this, I think. This is, I don't know.
There's a pack opener named Mama Breaks, I think is her Instagram handle, who got her boxes at Golden Apple, which is where I got my boxes. She pulled a 1 of 1 beast card. Literal 1 of 1.
I'm trying to do that right now. I just ordered some of those Topps WWE cards with Kendrick and The Rock and Cena's epic heel turn. Apparently there's 1 of 1 where they all signed it.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what's so funny? I don't follow wrestling lore at all, but that John Cena thing was so big that even I saw all that happening. And what's funny is I didn't know that he's never been a heel before. So when that moment hit, I was like, I'm so confused with what's going on right now. Is The Rock still wrestling? Like, what's going on right now?
That's a whole other podcast we can get into.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. John Cena's he's like Superman. He's Captain America.
I like all the memes going around, though. Like, what do the Make-A-Wish kids on this side of the timeline get?
Yeah. He's the ultimate, wish granter in Make-A-Wish history, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. Nobody's thinking of the children.
Now he's just throwing chairs at him. It's really awkward.
Right. What did they say? I saw a lot of memes saying, like, the Break-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you talk about on the Deeper Issues Nerdcast?
So we highlight a lot of indie comic books, creator number ones that you could walk into a comic shop and not need any prior knowledge or insight, basically, to be able to enjoy.
Oh, nice.
As well as kind of nerd-splain the week in nerd pop culture. And then on Saturdays, we do a live stream where we talk all about wrestling. Now, that's a new one. It's called the Abdominal Stretch.
That's great.
Yeah, and I have some pretty great co-hosts on the show. It's not all me, because I couldn't do that on my own. A lot of funny people around me. I don't know. Yeah, we just talk all the nerdy things, think all the deep thoughts about all the shallow things.
And Pablo was also on the podcast showcase that we did at Golden Apple Comics. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah.
Yep, we broke.
Oh, no. I was talking about the free comic book day thing we did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Free comic book. We broke a nerd communion that day with pizza.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
true.
You remember,
Yep.
like you passed me pizza through the grill of a fence,
Yeah.
Yep.
like
It was a jailhouse moment we had.
right from the back of a pickup. I thought I was
Yeah.
back in Indiana for a second.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
but this
That
podcast,
happened behind Comic Shop.
this podcast, Cyclops is Waiting for Me, is usually our bi-weekly podcast series where we're going back and watching every single X-Men animated episode we can find. This podcast started with the original 1992 X-Men animated series, building up to the release of X-Men 97, and along the way, we completed X-Men Evolution and launched our companion interview show, The Xavier Files. And since at the time of recording, Marvel's Brad Winterbaum has confirmed that season 2 of the X-Men of X-Men 97 will be dropping in 2026. We're dedicating this year to all of Wolverine and the X-Men and adjacent.
This is the first episode since that has been said publicly by Brad. So while we were speculating that was the case, we have full confirmation right now. It is 2026. I'm hoping it is March of 26 and not November of 26. So
I don't know if this is just me, like, going from vibes, or if I feel like I heard it from somewhere, but I thought it was, like, implied that it was, like, mid-year or something, but I don't know where that came from, so
I hope you're wrong.
unconfirmed.
Some quick reminders. We're a recap show about an animated movie that's came out over 15 years ago. There are going to be spoilers. And if you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, find the episode movie on a certain website that relates to motion, and watch it and then come back. Because it's not on Disney Plus or any other service. It was listed on Where to Watch as both Vudu and Amazon. And I guess from when it got last updated to when we had to watch it for this, it got taken down because of licensing running out. So,
Oh, fun. Is it even purchasable anywhere?
As far as I could tell, the only way is if you're getting the physical DVD from like a place.
Oh,
So,
wow.
That's right,
so
baby.
it's not even a digital purchase.
no, that was what I was saying. Like, even on Amazon, you could not purchase it for like, the $1.99 or whatever they usually charge for that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I have my physical
media?
copy right here. That's definitely
Hell
not
yeah.
the space DVD box that I'm holding up. This is definitely the Wolverine Hulk movie that we just watched. The fair.
And per usual, backed up by what Rod just did, we are currently not sponsored or affiliated with Marvel Animation, Disney, or especially Disney Plus in any way.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at Cyclops IWFM Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook. At the time of recording, TikTok's still here. When is this going up? We might have a week or so.
Yeah, about a week.
We'll
Like
see.
literally that week, I think. So.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, we don't know anymore.
Now on to the show. Today we're talking about the straight-to-DVD movie Hulk vs. Wolverine. It was one half of the Hulk vs. DVD that also included Hulk vs. Thor. We're an X-Men podcast. I don't really give a shit about Thor, so we're not going to be talking about that one. It was released in 2009, because thanks IMDb for not filling that out. And the combined total score of that DVD is a 6.9 star rating.
Yikes, not too great.
So, unlike Wolverine and the X-Men, I had watched this way before when it originally came out. How about you guys? Did you ever watch this one before? Or?
I've never seen this before.
This infamously played in the background in a lot of situations in my life, but I never sat down and actually watched it until, recently. When you said
Like once or twice, or like, are you talking like a dozen times you've been around this?
over a dozen times, likely, but only ever kind of just saw seconds at a time. I don't know. Long story. Don't want to explain, but it was it was always there. It was there in various situations. Good ones.
Got it.
Not bad.
Because this was still in when the Iron Man movie was like just happening, right?
Yeah,
So this was produced in 2008, but came out in 2009. So
it
yeah.
was like right in the middle of all that, but we hadn't hit like the not multiverse, the cinematic universe yet.
I think Avengers came out in 2012. I want to say, right?
Yeah, so I was probably only keeping up, if you call keeping up, like with like the one movie that was out, like with Marvel, like just the movie stuff. So I mean the theatrical movies. So I think I wasn't even like thinking about the straight to DVD animated movies at the time.
No,
Hold on, I'm looking up dates. Keep vamping.
I do remember this was exciting. This was like an exciting time when they were like, oh, Marvel and DC are starting to produce animated films based off of like, comic books that we read. There was, I think at the time, it was just like Iron Man. Maybe there was like 2 Hulk movies because one of them didn't do good and the other one had Edward Norton.
The Ed Norton one, which we finally got our sequel to, came out in 2008. So this was being produced as that was hitting theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this was a hot thing. I remember I was like, oh yeah, cool, a Wolverine story. But yeah, I don't want to give too much. I don't want to jump too much into my feelings and I guess give away the story before y'all jump into it.
So the weird part about the story is there are a bunch of the websites which are saying this is based off of Wolverine, his first appearance in Hulk 181. The next episode that Pablo is not here for is way more closely related to that first appearance. They are just literally switching it being the first encounter with the Hulk and Logan as opposed to the narrative of that story, which is weird.
Is that the cover that's like the iconic with the claws?
Yeah.
And the reflection?
No, you're thinking the later one. This is the one where it was him in the very yellow with whisker outfit jumping at the Hulk. What you're thinking was, I think that was a later fight where it was brown suit Wolverine versus Gray Hulk.
Run.
Yeah. Which we did get see referenced in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The original was super weird. It was like basically, kitty cat whiskered Wolverine, and Hulk was fighting like this random big nosed cryptid of like the Canadian
the Wendigo.
Yeah,
I was waiting to see where that was going.
the way it was drawn too is so weird. It was just like, it was all white and just, I don't know, for some reason all of the designs are pretty. They were bold choices. But yeah, and just Wolverine just kind of comes out of nowhere in that comic, if I remember right. He's just kind of just like, hey, these two giant brutes are fighting.
They showcase him in the last panel of Incredible Hulk 180 as like he's going to get involved in it. And there is a like he gets sent by Department H aspect of it, but that's really like vague and not fleshed out at that point. They've more retroactively made it like, oh, he's a part of Alpha Flight and XYZ,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty interesting stuff.
So the episode kicks off with the iconic line, I'm Wolverine, I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do isn't very nice. We don't get enough of that in modern culture, I feel like. We get people referencing it like Chris Jericho, but we don't get it from Logan in modern culture.
You mean like the heel anthems, or?
I just mean like he, aside from maybe the first issue of every new volume of his comic, I rarely hear it heard or see it written in the comics.
That specific quote.
That specific quote, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
who's his voice? Sorry, is it?
It is Stephen Bloom, who is the same voice as Wolverine and the X-Men's Wolverine. So he's done the voice a handful of times.
Yeah, he did great. He sounded like Wolverine should sound.
Yep. So it is the same voice actor who is in both the special as well as the series. The Hulk's voice actor is the same person in both this and the episode, but Banner is a different voice actor.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No. Wolverine wakes up and he's bloody and confused. I love that the design of the costume is reminiscent of the classic one, especially more so than what we get. Like he has just like the extra like layer around his mouthpiece, but it's not the full like kitty cat whiskers that Pablo was alluding to.
I'm on for kitty cat whiskered Wolverine.
Are you?
Even today, if you threw some whiskers on him, I'd be about it.
Just for Deadpool and Wolverine too.
Yeah, man. Throw some whiskers on there.
I just don't want to hear Ryan Reynolds just gushing about that. It would be too much.
I know. I would normally say I'm joking, but that was $1 billion movie, so you know the suits are just like make a sequel.
So Wolverine wakes up very confused, yells in Canadian, which is how I described it. Doesn't really know what's going on, and that's when the Hulk appears, and Wolverine's like, "Oh shit, this is what was happening." So you're left with the impression that he got his bell rung so hard that he's like literally regrowing brain cells as this show is starting. So
classic trope. Let me tell you, if I would have wrote this, I would have freeze framed right there and be like, "Oh, hi, by the way, I'm Wolverine." I guess you're wondering how I got here. And then like the rewind.
Yep.
That's pretty much what it was without that.
Is that
exact
Baba
moment.
O'Reilly that plays during that?
No, it's the Rasputin song, Rasputin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there was a lot of Logan passing out in this. I actually just lost track of which passing out to waking up was supposed to connect to which.
Yeah.
It happened like 3 or 4 times.
This was that era where Wolverine was starting to get overpowered, but he wasn't like full-fledged, I could regenerate from a single cell Wolverine. So,
But in this one, he didn't even really have to regenerate a few times. He just was impervious.
yeah. But there was blood.
There was blood.
There was a fair amount of blood and straight up murder in this. So
Yeah, no, there was blood, but like there was times where like the Hulk would pound Wolverine so hard, like he would dent the ground, and I feel like in modern times they would show that like he would like lose skin or something, you know, or you'd see bones breaking.
yeah,
But this was like he had skin of steel and adamantium as well.
I would imagine they probably tried to limit because there was already so much blood. This was actually like, I see why this is probably not going to end up on streaming anytime in the future. I'm willing to bet that the licenses that whoever had to stream this were pre-Disney buying out Fox, because the way that they probably want to protect their characters. Kevin Feige was a producer on this, by the way?
he was a producer. He was a producer on Wolverine and the X-Men at the same era too.
That's insane.
Although, Pablo, have you
playing
seen Daredevil Reborn yet?
I haven't.
I think we are ending the no blood on Disney Plus era.
No, it's not even the blood. There's
even the violence.
lines in here. Do I dive into this right now? The biggest, so Deadpool's in this movie. And
Die.
well, not even before that. He talks about basically unaliving babies at some point.
A very specific group of babies, but yes, he does.
Yeah, but he's like,
we also don't care. We say kill. Like you don't have to.
I don't know.
You don't have to do the Instagram thing. We know we're not getting promoted on the algorithm. That's fine.
I'll go speak. I love how somehow, just because of how I landed on social media, like JC has become more of a millennial than I am. Because like he references Instagram for things that were on TikTok 8 months ago.
Yep.
Hey man.
Hey, my TikTok algorithm is whatever gets curated to my Instagram algorithm. That's my TikTok.
The joke on TikTok right now is like in September, everyone on Instagram's like, "Oh my god, TikTok got banned."
It's gonna be real funny when they don't have a website to post to, you know.
Okay, well then, yeah, he talks about killing babies, and I would think with the billions of dollars that movie made and all the money invested into that IP, that's probably not the Deadpool that they want floating around the internet. So I wouldn't be surprised if this movie
Doesn't ever get added back. I could totally see it.
That's why I'm all about the physical media, brother. Look, you see this? All right.
Or they do the weird AI. Have you seen that controversy on Netflix? Like the AI uprising.
They've done that.
Well,
I mean, you don't need AI for that.
No,
like, I'm sure they have.
But like, go watch A Different World. They just try to run everything through AI to upscale it. And so there's like gibberish characters in the background. People's faces move when they're not moving and stuff, like weird, like all the artifacts of early. It's all on there. Anyway, I could see them trying to do some weird censoring with some like not deepfake, but you know what I mean, like some weird digital editing that's like kind of cheap.
Well, the good part is anything that Deadpool says did not need to match up with anything, because Nolan North, one of the fun facts, he improv'd 90% of Deadpool's stuff in the episode. So that's why like they didn't ever have to worry. Also, there was no like identifiable actor behind him, so they didn't have to show his face or any of the, you know, now you'd have to show Deadpool's face to make him look like Ryan Reynolds, you know? Yeah. So we go into the CGI intro, which is very much of its time. You come out of that and it's a flashback to, I think it was 4 hours prior or something like that, where Wolverine is in his cowboy hat, which did get an appearance in Wolverine and the X-Men. It was, I think I had mentioned in one of the episodes, it was sitting on his bedpost. And they basically land and there's a total town that's been decimated. And, there's lots of really, really obviously implied death having happened there. There's like there's the kid's shoe and like all those things of like, we're not going to show you the body, but we're going to show you everything next to the body.
I think before that, John, you missed the most important detail.
Please.
Is Wolverine stepping off of the helicopter and then them hitting the Ric Flair shot of his like gator boots.
Oh, you're right. The gator boots were there.
Pretty cinematic.
Yep.
I don't know. I imagine they're gator boots. I'm not sure, but yeah, I love that. I don't know. All the cheesy tropes in this that were very much of their time are in this.
The 2000s edgelord stuff.
So 2000s, great.
It's also like that whole era of like Wolverine as the guy not in the costume, which we didn't get with a ton of other characters. Like there was that the issue from Grant Morrison's run where it's just like Wolverine like looking like a slut in a cowboy hat on the cover and things like that. Like that was just, they were trying to make him not be embarrassed by the spandex kind of scenario.
They wanted the t-shirt and the old white tank top. I mean, sorry, the white tank top and the jeans look.
It's exactly
on Wolverine.
On hindsight too, I think it's funny for like a corporation to want that version, you know, because you'd think like, oh, if we just have someone in an A-frame and a cowboy hat, like that's not merchandisable, but we can sell like neon yellow T-shirts, you know, and cowls and stuff. I think on hindsight, somebody's looking back like, why didn't we capitalize on the crazy outfits?
Hey, Fruit of the Loom and Levi jeans definitely did.
Yes.
Right?
There were a lot of really lazy cosplayers with big hair at cons in that era. So
Or
valid.
Still there.
So you find out that he's been brought up there. Department H basically wants to stop this because he's headed towards the U.S. Border, and they need to put a stop to him or kill him. They are not subtle about it. It's, you got to end it right now for it.
Yeah. Wolverine's like the Canadian U.S. Border Patrol up there, apparently.
He's got dual citizenship somehow, despite the fact that despite the fact that his social security card is one.
Yeah.
that's how OG is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like license plates in Delaware. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Like in Delaware, the lower the digit you're, because Delaware is the first state. I only know this because I used to live there. Otherwise, no one else would know this. Because it was the first state, the lower the digit or the number of digits in your license plate, the more it's worth. So the single digit license plates are owned by, it's like the wealthiest people. Like I don't know this, but I'm gonna guess the Bidens own a good number of the single digit license plates, stuff like that. You know, like and the DuPonts and stuff. So Logan's social security card, like, you know, he's been, I guess arguably he's been alive longer than the system, right? So he probably did get issued the first one.
Yeah. So Wolverine goes into the woods, and you see like a lot of like very stereotypical like woods glamour shots and stuff like that. You get the moment with him like tracking. There's like him like and a wolf like chilling next to each other. Which literally happens in the next episode too. I'm pretty sure there's the wolf shot in that episode as well.
It's his cousins.
Here's the thing. I get that it's like, oh, he's an animal. They never have him chill with actual wolverines or badgers and shit like that, though. It's always wolves.
Yeah. Do Wolverines have good sense of smell and stuff too? Is that a thing, or is that?
You are asking the wrong people. Rod, add it to the Tamara list.
All the stuff that she's not going to answer.
Yeah.
How he gets to the forest is like as inefficient as can be, because they're like flying him over and they're like, "Sir, do you want us to land you?" And he's like, "Don't bother." And he puts on his suit and he just jumps out. Like, what if you hit a bird, friend? What if you're going down and just like the right time? Or what are you expecting? You're just gonna like, if I fall the wrong way, I just break all my bones and.
Well, if he hits a bird, it's going to be like that time where the bird flew into Fabio's face on a roller coaster.
There's another 90s.
That's what's going to happen there.
I'm just wondering. I don't understand the logic behind just be like, or why not just like, hey, just like lower it over here by this mountain where I can just gently hop off. No.
So he can do the superhero landing. So far, Yelena's the only one to call it out in the entire Marvel, not just the multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah, he does gently kind of glide in through some snow, where I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
I don't know.
Eventually, he does come to big footprints, and I guess if this was just called Wolverine, maybe you don't know what it is, but it's literally called Hulk versus Wolverine, so it's not really that great a reveal that that's the case. And then in the distance, he sees like a crying Banner.
Shouldn't he be naked, by the way?
He got the big pants at least.
Yeah.
Or he's just wrapped in the background. But yeah,
Yeah.
he is crying in the woods.
Yep.
Sad.
Well, we went through the shouldn't the clothing be ruined, because in the last episode that aired this week at time of recording, magma burns through part of her clothing, but not all of it, melts the tar on the road, but the soles of her shoes are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pants should be stretched, unless, I don't know, they didn't seem like stretchy pants that he was wearing.
But at least they were bigger than Banner. You know, like we were talking about, this would be a spoiler, except that Marvel put it in the trailers, but when Ross turns into Red Hulk in Brave New World, like, his pants don't stretch. They just, like, it's like the old cartoon magic where they're just there and they aren't, like, there's whatever size they need to be.
No,
Like,
those are stretchy jeans from Express, sir.
Because like I was gonna say, like with Red Hulk, like if you would have used like the argument that like, they stretched with him, then when he comes back down, he should be like wearing them like overalls, right? And, like it might be a little funny, but it would make sense. Like he'd be like holding them in his neck and be like, "Hey guys, sorry."
But that doesn't happen? Just back to regular pants?
Yep, just back to regular pants. They're a little like torn on the bottom, but like the waist is always fine. So
Yeah. Cartoon magic right there. Superhero magic.
So Wolverine goes to Banner and is kind of like figure out what's going on. He mentions that he smells toxic, which is one of the things that he did notice from that town that was destroyed as well, and immediately starts to rough him up.
Yeah, pretty insensitive, actually. Wolverine's kind of a fucking asshole.
Oh, he's a total dick in this episode. Yeah.
I'm like, and I feel like I have a hard time with him during this entire movie because he's such an asshole. Like, there's no, I guess, real redeemable points where he's like a hero.
Yeah, he doesn't ever feel like a hero here. He's just somebody for the Hulk to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's like a complete jerk to this random crying man because he smells bad.
Yep. And then he does one of our favorite things, which he does the dual claws under the chin with the third one ready to go. And that is what sets Banner off. And we get the eyes turn green. There's the transformation. And that's where we get the flashback to the present. So all that happened in about a 4-hour time frame. And then what we love to do, big fight.
Yeah.
Big old fight. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the animation was awesome. Like that's one thing I did not have a problem with this movie at all. It was really well drawn. The lighting, everything was really cool about it. Like the way the character designs were, except for some reason Sabretooth's weird kind of.
I do not like the Sabretooth design.
Everything except for the face. I don't know. It has this weird like moon shape, like the old McDonald's mascot situation. I don't know.
Mac the Knight.
Yes. Your age is showing right now.
Oh,
Nobody.
He's older than me.
Nobody after a certain age will know. Yeah, Mac.
Well, according to our demographics on Spotify, I am hitting our demo with that reference.
Yeah, Mac the Knight. That's what he freaking looks like. Only
Yep.
I don't know, not as cool. No sunglasses.
Yep. They have an underwater fight, and then there is just stabbing with red blood. Like again, they went for it with the violence.
Yeah, they did. They have no holds barred.
Yep.
Violence and blood.
And then
I thought Hulk's skin was like impenetrable, though. I thought that was another thing.
It was adamantium. That was the only
No,
thing.
not the. Oh, that's right.
That's the only thing I caught.
It also sometimes depends on how angry he is too. Like it's levels of how impenetrable he is. So
Yeah, because
I think it's like Luke Cage is fully impenetrable. So
I was thinking about that too with the Hulk. I was like, oh, he can get stabbed. And I was like, oh, but it's his claws. And then later on, as other like of the what did he call them? Like claw people.
yes, claw people.
She's not wrong.
And Omega Red's in the corner, like I'm here too.
No, you're not. We do get one of my favorite like common Hulk trope quotes, which is "Leave Hulk alone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that really, to be fair, that's all he wants.
Really?
He's like, I'm out in the middle of the woods in Canada. You could just leave me alone.
Yeah. And then after he says that, he starts to walk away, and then Logan's like, "Oh no, let's go for round 2." And it's like, he wanted to leave. He didn't want to keep fighting. He's not destroying shit, but you're jumping to conclusions because you're just this like tiny impatient man.
Yeah.
We do get the reference that you were making earlier, though, Rod,
With the
of
reflection.
the comic cover with the reflection in the claws.
They didn't linger on it, though, and I don't know if what I like better or not. Because, like, sometimes it's like, oh, they just pose so we could see it. But they didn't do that at all here. It happened so fast. If, like, I would have sneezed, I would have missed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. Very true.
We then get the other, more famous Hulk quote of "Hulk is strongest one there is." So we got that right there. And then a lot more blood.
Hulk is basically just a giant toddler. I've realized, actually, through watching this.
But also by having a toddler. So, yeah.
It's like pretty much the exact same thing that they would, like my son would like try to, I don't know, wrestle or beat up his little figures. Yeah, he's like,
He also gets stronger when he gets angry. It's kind of weird.
yeah, it's true. My kid, right? Yeah, because
Yeah, exactly.
just making sure we're on the same page. Yeah, he does. He also turns green.
That's just bad. At that point, the two of them get tranquilized, and that's where we get the reveal of the villains for the episode. As Pablo said, we have Sabretooth with a really bad face design. It's not a redeemable version of him.
It's not good.
Nope. We get Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike, and then Deadpool. And I had forgotten that it was Nolan North, who was also the voice actor for Deadpool in basically every video game ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to spend the time to count all of it, but I want to say he's been Deadpool in somewhere between 12 and 24 different video games at this point, including the Deadpool game itself.
Yeah, that dude was all the voices for Deadpool. Pretty much, that's all like I want to say pretty much for every animated iteration of him too, right? I can't think of who else was the voice for him.
Definitely the majority. If there was another one, I can't think of them off the top of my head, because even X-Men the animated series, that was pre-talking Deadpool. Like, we actually never heard Deadpool's voice in that show.
Oh, apparently Will Frady or whatever, the with
Boy Meets World kid?
Yeah. Apparently he was also the voice for Deadpool at some point.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
Got it.
I'm
like the three.
I'm like looking up to see if he had a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, because if you have that many like appearances as Deadpool, like it doesn't look like it. Okay, I don't know if somebody knows about that, put in the comments.
I feel like he's so well known as Deadpool that would have been out there if he had been in there,
Yeah. I just see a bunch
So-
of people wishing that he was.
Yeah, right. It's like he should have been like what was it, Headpool, the zombie head version. Like that
Oh.
would have been a good one for him.
Was it Nathan Fillion?
I think so.
Yeah,
don't know.
or any because there's so many voices in that little cameo in that section. It could have been anybody.
Hey.
Like I think Ryan Reynolds' kids made a cameo there.
Yeah, that was Kid Pool.
Yeah, and wasn't the baby also?
Yeah,
Something? Yeah.
that was Baby Pool. Yep.
Oh,
Get those residual checks, dude.
Keep it in
absolutely.
the family.
Yep.
Nepotism.
So we have a flashback as Logan is passed out, where he is drunk outside of a bar. And again, to this, not being friendly by cartoon standards of even today, he's definitely trash. Like, they're not holding back on any of this. Like, this was not meant to be the Saturday morning kids cartoon Logan that we were watching here.
He's got that Black Label bottle too, so it's not like that's apple juice, like.
Really bad apple juice.
Yeah.
Well, there's booze on kids shows. It was just the little XXX jugs normally, right?
Yeah, or the Goofy used to call it rusty water.
Did he?
Yeah, like that was the lore that I used to find out, because there was an old. It's probably been erased from Disney archives. There was a old cartoon with why Goofy acts goofy, and it's because Donald Duck couldn't get him to stop drinking the rusty water. So I think, kind of canonly, Goofy's just always drunk, or is suffering the damage from being drunk so long or something.
So by the time of a Goofy movie, he's like a recovering alcoholic single dad.
Probably, yeah. There you go. And he just has like that much like recovering brain injuries and stuff.
This completely alters a Goofy movie. If
So much. It's my favorite movie ever, and you're ruining it for me.
And that's
now.
how he lost his wife. There was some tragedy there that Goofy was responsible for, so he's doing his best. We're doing a whole like dark reboot.
Shut
of the
up,
Goofy
Rod.
movie.
We're here to talk about Wolverine and his alcohol problem, okay? So we get the Doctor, which they don't name him in this movie. Isn't his name in other stuff Dr. Cornelius usually? That's who we had in like Evolution in the animated series. Am I wrong on that, Rod?
Cornelius, I think they'd have him in there. This one was confusing to me, though, because they just kept calling him the Professor, and having a bald white man being called Professor in an X-Men series is confusing.
But he could walk.
Yeah, but like we don't know that all the time. Like, and he keeps getting injured by all the Claw people, so I just don't know if it's going to be like an origin of some weird version of Xavier.
So, speaking of origins, we do get the origin story for Logan. You see them using these like really crappy old style computers, and they do the adamantium like injection into him and stuff. And of all the things, I feel like that's the one where they could have been a little more violent, and they chose not to. Like that was the body horror that they're like, oh, we can't go too far with this.
They did show like spilling out of his skin, though. That was kind of wild.
That was taken from. It wouldn't have been Hulk 181, but Pablo, when was it that they started revealing those origins? That would have been like
of Wolverine.
It was like pre-Fatal Attractions era, right?
It was probably even me. No, I guess those origins were kind of like mid 90s.
Because they had already established the big ugly helmet that I've never liked, but is always there at that point. So
that helmet's awesome. Man.
The
why do you
globe
like
helmet?
the helmet?
I don't know.
The globe helmet thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it, but I mean, from the action figures, because it was a cool action figure.
Yeah, that's what it was. Maybe it was the action figure with like the helmet and all the little pieces and stuff.
It may be one of the skins I have in Fortnite too, but I mean that's aside the point.
That was one of the earliest action figures where I got introduced to variants, because I just remember my mom yelling at me and my brother saying like we couldn't get another Weapon X action figure because she's like, you already have two. It's like, but this one has green pants.
You're like, Mom, I have Wolverine. This is Weapon X. That other guy is Logan. That's where you gotta lie.
No, I mean, it's the exact same Wolverine, the same Weapon X. It's the exact same figure. They just put the shorts. I think there was 2 or 3 variants of it. And I only remember that because I think the green one that I did remember like wanting, my mom was like, that's dumb, you already have 2 other ones. I think the green one is like worth several $100s now, so I kind of got the last laugh on that.
Yeah.
You would have opened it though.
Take that, Mom.
Yeah, I would have opened it, but it was even half of that. Like in this economy, that would have been an investment.
Damn it. That would have been 3 cartons of eggs.
Yeah.
Right there.
Instead, my parents collected Desert Storm trading cards. Guess what didn't value up?
They actively lost value. I remember that set though. I bought those at a Krauser's. Yeah. Actually, it was still Wawa at that point. It wasn't even Krauser's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. Logan comes out of his flashback where he's chained in a bathroom. His claws are popping. That's where you'd see, as I said, the dumb helmet, and then a bear fights him.
Yeah. This was my favorite part of the whole movie, I think, actually.
Yeah,
Bear fight.
Was just fighting a bear. It was really great. And then he gets like punched out of it and woken up.
Yeah. And we find out that Sabretooth wants to kill Wolverine, and the professor won't allow it. And it's basically like, yeah, we put too much investment into him to just kill him. And this is the scene where you got like a lot of like close-ups of Sabretooth talking, and it really just is a total trashy like design.
He's got the
great.
anime villain budget there.
Yeah, I don't understand. This was the one bad choice that they went with.
Yep. You do start to see there are clone babies in these vats, which does not follow the actual Weapon X story of Weapon X, but it follows the cloning story of X-23. And they made sure that one baby in the vat, they lingered on it for a little bit longer, and that baby had hair, as like none of the other babies had hair.
Yeah. That's why X-23 survived, because the rest of them I don't know, couldn't grow hair.
Yeah.
It'd have been great though if they like just didn't show. They showed all the numbers up to like 21 or 22, and then just cut to next scene. Just troll everybody.
It is important to note at this point, this is still a flashback, though, because they are all in their gray Weapon X suits at this point.
Remender.
Yep. Deadpool in his gray suit wants to kill the babies, as Pablo mentioned.
Yeah, he does. It's really freaking dark, and I just thought, like, what would Rob Liefeld think of this?
Ugh.
He would not be invited to the screening of the DVD movie.
And
He may have been invited to this one, I'm sure. Everybody shook his hand there.
I don't know if he would have been invited to this.
And then just go on a tirade about
this was Deadpool as like the background character at this era. So you know,
so he would have been invited.
Yeah.
I feel left out because so far we're the only ones that don't have a beef with this dude. Because I didn't like NerdSync have a beef with him.
Oh,
on
I could
Twitter?
start that in a week if we want to, Rob.
I feel like at this point anybody could. That dude has been on a rampage, like the people he's siding with and stuff. But I did make a note about this section. I wasn't familiar with the comic book reference, so the color. I thought they were blue, but maybe it was just the version I saw. It made more sense for them to have those outfits in like the Canadian snow than like brightly colored yellow, reddish, hueish, like outfits.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the Remender suits would have happened yet at this point, Pablo, though, right?
I don't know. Yeah, this is 2009. When did Rick Remender's run of that X-Force? That was like Ultimate.
So this
It wasn't Ultimate.
So this might have just been logistical. Then, is a better like incognito, way to fight if you're gonna have a bunch of
Uncanny X-Force is what it was.
Uncanny X-Force came out. Give me a date. 2014. So
okay, so
wow.
maybe this inspired a little bit.
yeah. So this is why it's the Weapon X program as opposed to Uncanny X-Force. So.
Dang, did we just break something that Rick Remender stole those suits or whoever his artist was?
I was gonna say he was the writer, so I can't really blame Rick for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. Those suits are pretty great. Also, what's weird is that this movie came out at this because I was trying to figure out the Wolverine Origins movie. That was the one with Ryan Reynolds' weird version of Deadpool, and this movie both came out in 2009.
Yes.
Wolverine, I think, came out in May. When did this one come out? So I wonder if there was a communication with execs on this of like, hey, we both have Deadpool. I don't know. I guess.
So it only said 2009 on IMDb, and I had to research multiple episodes, so I didn't dig any further than that.
Yeah, because I've on Reddit saw some people were saying this came out in like 2007, 2008, but then
it was marked as produced in 2008, but it did not release until 2009.
And I don't know if this is Mandela effect, but I also recall they changed this to Hulk versus, and it was then the package of Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. But I think this was its own DVD, and then Hulk versus Thor was also its own DVD. And then later on, they were like, oh, you get both the movies on one DVD now. I
have only ever seen it as the single set with both movies on it.
Like I said, that could be just like a different dimension crossing over the current one right now.
Yeah. Fucking multiverse shit.
Although physical media stuff gets weird, right? Because there's things like, I remember back in 2 lifetimes ago, I used to work at Barnes & Noble, and like there would be different editions, like you said, like they would split stuff apart sometimes, or, you know, like, I don't know about earlier or whatever, but like, yeah, physical media is like weird to keep track of because, nobody thought.
It was like a way to drive sales of just like, hey, here's a new gimmicky version. Barnes & Noble still has a bunch of physical media, by the way.
Some of them.
The one in Irvine, I was like, this place is amazing.
Okay, because I was gonna say a lot of Barnes & Noble have converted their music and movie section to like the toys area or like the kids reading area or something, or just like a bunch of like anime Funko Pops and stuff.
Oh.
Well, at least Funko's finally dying. As there's a bunch of Deadpool pops over my shoulder right now.
The resurgence is coming.
Yeah. We get Logan breaking out of the tube, and then he murders 2 doctors. cuts through, takes off the professor's arm, and then murders a shit ton of guards as he leaves this facility.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Vintage Logan.
Dig it. Real like the origin story we remembered.
Yeah. I had, I probably watched this within 6 months of that DVD being released, and I just forgot how brutal the actual like scenes of this were. Like, I remember it was Wolverine and Sabretooth and Deadpool in it, but just the like, oh, he straight up killed scientists in there for we're just experimenting on him with. I'm not saying it's not justified, but it was also like, it's not a hero's movie, like Pablo was saying.
Wolverine, enemy of science.
He's feral coming out of that tube every time, right? Like, that's the whole thing.
Always. Yeah.
So it's more of like I'm getting out of here, and if you just happen to be between me and the wall, it's going to become a door.
Well, that's why Sabretooth was telling the professor to kill him, because they couldn't control him like the others.
Yeah.
Speaking of feral.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat just
kitty.
started crawling across my computer.
Oh, that's the kitten.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, little boy.
On wheels, this guy.
Deathstrike is like really. I like her. She's really like ominous in this one. Like, I saw her scratching the glass. I was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna break it!" Like, oh, she wants to break it.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I also do love the inclusion of Omega Red, because it's a character I feel like that doesn't get enough love, I think. And it just makes me want to play Marvel vs. Capcom every time I see him on the screen. I'm just
Or
like,
Children of the Atom.
yeah.
yeah.
It's a great game.
I feel like Omega Red, the biggest problem is people don't know what to do with him in a short time frame, because he's such a powerful character and can do so much that like he almost gets bitched out a little bit, because they're like, well, we can't make him this super powerful thing because then nobody's going to be able to defeat him,
Yeah, and even in this, like I kind of joked, but he is kind of just like in the corner. They like kind of animate him into the corners sometimes. And they just pull him out whenever they need someone with tentacles to capture someone.
Right. Nobody puts Omega Red in the corner except Marvel Animation Studio, apparently.
Every time. Every time. So he gets woken up, and we see that Cornelius, as I'm just gonna call him Cornelius, that's who it is, has a like little creepy hand now made out of robotics and stuff like that. Yeah. And you get a little bit of further info that Hulk was in that town as the Weapon X team was chasing him, but he actually saved that family that was in the car, wasn't victims of the Hulk like Wolverine thought, but he basically refers to everybody else that's in that town as collateral damage. So
yeah, this is the one heroic moment of the movie, I think, is the Hulk.
Only one. Yes.
Yeah, this is it.
I also guess I didn't know, or maybe this is just an iteration of Deathstrike I'm not familiar with, because I knew that she had cybernetics in her, right, for their claws. I didn't know she was full on cyborg, because I mean, he ripped her arms off. It was like all electricals.
I don't believe she's full on robotic. I just think they chose to rip her in the spots that were.
Okay.
Yes. Because I've definitely seen that with her before, where like she'll lose an arm and then reattach it, like when she's with the Reavers and things like that.
Because like when we saw, what was the last episode we watched where it was Spiral has similar things. Like, I didn't know Spiral had robotic arms, and then like
they didn't. That was added just so they could de-arm or disarm Spiral. So
yeah, so this one, like, he ripped off her arm when he got out of the tube, and I was like, oh snap, okay, I guess she's a cyborg now.
Mm-hmm. So the doctor is saying that they're gonna reprogram him, turn him back into the weapon that he needs to be. Wolverine is going to kill everybody as his solution for it, and Deadpool gets left behind, and you find out that everybody on the team essentially hates Deadpool.
Yeah. He's pretty hateable in this one.
He is, and I think there's a lot of people that have the modern version of Deadpool in their heads when it is like the charming Ryan Reynolds. But even when Deadpool was getting like his own series, or when he had like the co-book with Cable, he was not a great character or great person. Like, he was still a mercenary murdering people for money at that point.
I was going to say,
Yeah, it was pretty recent that kind of he became that.
because
Breaking the fourth wall character.
modern.
Well, he was breaking the fourth wall when Joe Kelly took over writing the character, but he was still like bad. Like he was funny, but he was still bad, you know?
Modern Deadpool, the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, I feel like it's just like kind of a polished Van Wilder, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Van Wilder you can't kill.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Which is also every other role that Ryan Reynolds is in is just a different version.
That's true.
Of Van
And
Wilder.
Just Friends, and
It just works really well for Deadpool.
Yep. And then they did the shot that they couldn't show us in animation. They finally like drew the line on it where it was like, you know, do you still never shut your mouth? And Deadpool's like, do you still have an adamantium skull? And he puts the gun to Logan's head and he pulls the trigger off camera and ends up implying that he hurts himself while doing it.
oh yeah, he's like, ow.
Yeah. Deathstrike is at the tube, and you know, she just wants to kill him. She does not want to deal with this. She's not going according to plan with the team. Sabretooth comes up from behind and kills the professor at that point too, because it's like, oh well, we got what we wanted, and you get the impression they don't care about the team. They just all wanted to finally get revenge on Logan for something. I guess for abandoning them as a team, which I don't feel like any of them would actually give a shit about, but that's what it is.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have abandonment issues.
We did get like a little hint though from Sabretooth that Deathstrike and Logan maybe had a little fling like they kind of have in the past, you know, because he was like, we hate you, but Shoot really hates you.
Right. And in a lot of iterations of the character, she becomes Deathstrike because not just the heartbreak, but also her father got killed because of Logan. So that furthered it. So they just didn't have the time to get into it with this.
Yeah. This is also like a ridiculously brutal attack scene on him with like her digging the claws into the back.
Okay.
Yep.
then-
I wrote that down in particular. The backstab was brutal
Yeah.
looking.
Yo,
And then she like takes all that pleasure in it. She's like, oh, I don't know. She has a moment.
that shows my age because like I saw that and it just with the back pains I've had the last decade of my life, I'm like, that looks like I feel so good. Like that's what I want like a massage therapist to do to me is like, yes, like fix whatever those muscles are called, like, you know, like just
Yep.
dig them out, like.
You saw it as relief as opposed
Yeah.
to. Okay, Rod, I'm just going to remind you the clip that went live on Instagram this week is about you waking up from being unconscious from your roommate finding you with massive scratches down your back.
Yeah. But that was when I was in my 20s. Maybe I'm learning something about myself.
In real time, right here on air.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
But
They
really,
have a. Oh, go for
I
it.
was gonna say, I think I watched that scene. Maybe it's because I also because this week has been kind of stressful. I've been like tensed up and stuff, and I've been thinking about getting a massage all week, and just haven't that. And now I maybe can't, depending on what these test results are. And so I saw that, and I was like, I'm so jealous of him. But also, I knew he could heal, you know. So I'm like,
Yeah, sure. That's what came to mind, Rod.
but it's like you know when you like are really sore and you get a massage, you just want them to get more in, you know. It's like it just felt like that. Oh yeah, like they get really anyway.
Please isolate that audio.
Get inside.
Somebody
me.
make a soundboard for Rod that he's not going to want in the future. Then we have a moment where they're like, yeah, I'm going to kill you over the course of days. And like Sabretooth licks his ear.
See, if I'm not the one,
Every
then
version
what?
of the character, Rod, you're not wrong.
Pablo, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's a episode. It was Evolution, where like Logan and Sabretooth smell each other from 2 miles away, and
As they're on motorcycles.
as they're on motorcycles, and it has like that 90s like the Matrix like lobby scene music behind it, so it's action packed. But in that, when we were doing our episode about that, I was like, if you just change the song to a romantic 90s ballad, this is a very romantic scene because they fade in and out of them smelling each other and then going to each other. And so like it was like iteration after iteration. Every time I thought of a song, like I did Daniel Bedingfield's "If You're Not the One" at one point. You know, like I think did I do All by Myself was one of them? I can't remember. Like
You did like 4, and we got hit with like 2 copyright takedowns from them. So we stopped doing that because we didn't want to lose the account.
But If You're Not the One, I think was the perfect one because it's like, if you're not the one, then why does my heart feel like...
And then it did like an epic like pull out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing. At the end of that thing, when they're sniffing each other and like going to each other, it does like the close up of Wolverine putting on his glove and snapping it. And I was like, perfect.
It's a cinema.
Speaking of cinema, my favorite scene from favorite shot of the entire thing is they get into like this whole taunting thing between Sabretooth and Wolverine, and he gets Deathstrike to stab Wolverine through Sabretooth. Like that was just so good. I thought it was way more creative than they were allowed to be with the violence of any of the cartoons we've watched so far. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Those writers and/or animators, they got it. They got the romance. They had to die together.
But at that point, to Rod's point about Deathstrike being cybernetic, fight breaks out and her arms get torn apart from this. So
Just literally disarmed.
yes. Yep. You get a quick dark hallway shot with a bunch of the red dots from the soldiers going up on Wolverine's face. And then he murders a bunch of these Department H soldiers. Does not give a shit.
No problem at all. He's back in the yellow suit, by the way. So
Yeah, he got changed.
yeah, between all that, he made sure to go find his outfit. He's like, hold on, before I get out of here.
He got dressed in front of Sabretooth as like an extra middle finger to him.
I haven't seen.
Like, you can't have this.
I haven't
This is
seen.
custom.
I might have missed it if someone did make this, but I haven't seen it on TikTok. Someone made one of these for Batman. That every time Batman needs to do a quick change, they do the movie scene of like the bat signal going up, and then before you see him in the suit getting in the Batmobile, him running to the mirror and doing his black eyeliner. Because whenever Batman's in a suit, his eyes are painted black, you know, but we never see him applying his makeup.
Just gotta rub that. That rubs on pretty quick. It doesn't need to be neat.
Yeah.
To be there.
But yeah, so we need a scene of Wolverine like getting dressed and whatever a makeup routine happens.
I imagine he'd do that from the mirror in the Batmobile, where he's like,
Alfred Drive.
yeah, he's like driving.
No, but if you go by Pattinson's version of Batman, because it goes beyond that. Because if you had the cowl on, he wouldn't be able to get underneath it. So he's got to do it before he pulls it on.
Even if you apply, I've done this. I've applied the around my eyes the black. Even when you get
With the
that
cowl
level-
on?
not with the cowl on.
Well, now you have to try it.
yeah, now I have to. But
Yeah.
but you still have to get a fine brush to get like right up to the eye, like Batman has. So you need a fine, like a super fine brush to kind of cover everything. Otherwise, you get like little, I don't know, weird stretchy line. Anyways, Wolverine.
Wolverine kills a bunch of soldiers.
Yeah, this is also really cool animation, by the way, because he's just like backlit, so it's like a weird silhouette and just like
The
little
shadow
parts of
fight.
light. Yeah, I really dug the shadow fight. Because it's a little kind of Frank Miller-esque, like Dark
Yeah.
Knight Returns, where it's just like the silhouettes of all the violence.
Yeah. And it lets them get away with a little more violence because you're not seeing like skin get cut. You're just seeing shadows get cut through, you know? Yeah.
Also, silhouettes of all the violence sounds like a Death Cab song.
It does.
Or
I don't
a
know
really
if Ben-
awesome
if-
Swedish black metal band.
There you go. If Ben Gibber's out there still thinking of another album to make, like, there's your song title.
There it is.
So Wolverine makes his way to Banner. I forgot what the specific conversation was, but I wrote the note that Logan doesn't care. And I think maybe he was telling Banner to transform and Banner just like wasn't doing it. I think that's what he was saying. Like, I don't care, just do it, or we have to get out of here, essentially. And then we get another big fight where Omega Red and Deadpool come back, and Banner just keeps refusing to transform there.
Yeah, classic Bruce Banner, right? Obviously, there's a version that doesn't have full control of himself. But yeah, and I even think there's a weird interaction just before this with like Deadpool realizing they didn't follow through with a lot of stuff in this thing. Actually, because you're right, there was kind of like that slightly prolonged shot of the baby with the hair.
Yep.
There's a little mention of Deadpool knowing that they all killed the professor, and none of that has any kind of payoff at any point in this film, but just like a little extra that was thrown in. So, tighter edits next time, guys. I don't know. This could have been edited a little bit tighter.
I also feel like things like this were written to be like 60 minutes, and they're like, you're getting the budget for 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, just cut some of this stuff.
But yeah, Banner doesn't turn. But once more, just awesome. This is the one showcase you get of Omega Red and his powers, I guess.
Yeah.
Before he transforms.
And Logan finally just decides, well, if you're not going to transform, I'm going to either kill you or make you transform. And he stabs Banner in the chest to make it happen.
Which it works, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All of the Weapon X team is back, and Wolverine says, I've got 2 words for you. And I screamed, suck it, at the screen. And that is not what he was saying. It was literally just him making the snicked noise with each of his claws, which I feel like they could have done something like do the pop up, like the what's it called when you do the animated word on screen? Like there's a name for that when you put like snicked or bamf or something like that.
Gotcha.
But I feel like you should have like done the visual of it or something at that point, because 2 words and then it's just like a very light sound effect does not have the same impact.
No, especially I'm watching it right now. Is there score behind this?
It's not NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
It is not NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's a score behind it, but yeah, you're right. I did notice that too. I'm like, oh, that was a little anticlimactic. The fact that he just kind of just like, shwing.
But they do give you a pretty graphic shot where he cuts through Deadpool's arm using his claws, and it's just literally like a puck of meat that is his bicep. Or is that no? That's not his bicep. It's his tricep, right?
I don't.
It's both. There's biceps on one side, triceps in the back. But yeah. He slices through that upper part of his arm.
Yeah,
I'm so used to the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool that I was not like quite ready for him to just pick up the pieces and reassemble it.
Yeah.
Like I thought he would regrow or something, but like
he'd regrow it.
Yeah, but him just including the puck. He was like trying to put it back in,
and he's like, "Oh, this is upside down."
Well, your triceps, biceps, they get confusing. They all look the same once they're detached like that.
And it's like I wouldn't be able to put that back properly the first try. Come on. At that point, Banner does transform, and it is Hulk smash claw people.
Yeah.
And then he hits Sabretooth so hard, he sends him out of the facility to like the edge of the mountain, which is like a half a mile nearby.
I love Sabretooth's face right before he gets punched when he knows it's coming.
Because it's the oh shit face.
Yeah, but when I've said before, like he kind of looked anime. This one is when they take the anime character and make him look comical instead of serious. Like because he had like the dots for pupils.
So the interesting fun fact I found about this is the team that put the episode together said that hit was so hard that it killed Sabretooth.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dead.
I didn't read it that way.
They showed he's just passed out. I guess he's.
But there's no indication that he's breathing or anything like that. So they're claiming that was a kill shot.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a spoiler for us for the rest of Wolverine and the X-Men that we're not getting a Sabretooth this season.
I was kind of worried about that because when they showed how everybody kind of being like, I don't know if dying is the right word, but like, finished, is like, if they just pop up in the series, is that going to annoy me? Like, like
if Sabretooth pops up and the creative team said he was dead, then yes, that's going to bother me.
Or like the professor just pops up out of nowhere.
Wait, does this directly tie in? I thought this was its own.
It's a loose prequel to the episode that is airing next week for us.
So a little minor, like little preview to what we're talking about next episode / the next week. You're seeing us. This gets referenced in the next episode.
Okay.
So the episode that we're recording next is called Wolverine versus Hulk, not Hulk versus Wolverine.
Well, they just reference maybe them. I mean, because they fought a lot, but do they specifically reference this? Is this like canon into that?
It's loosely canon.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I kind of likened it to what was Edward Norton's Hulk versus the Ang Lee Hulk. Like, they're not they're not sequels of each other, but they left it open enough. Like, the Ang Lee Hulk ends up in the Amazon or whatever, some forest somewhere, and then Edward Norton's Hulk picks up in a forest. So it could be either, depending on how you want to think of it, you know. So I think that's how I felt about the next episode. Is like, it probably this movie, but
yeah,
you know.
And Craig Kyle was on the creative team for for Evolution for this, and then is also a part of the creative team for Wolverine and the X-Men. So there is a connectivity to it as well.
You know, there's an alternate universe where at the beginning of this whole story, Hulk said, "Leave Hulk alone," and Wolverine was just like, "Okay, bub."
He's hanging out with Terrence Howard.
And they just
No.
And none of this would have happened. No,
Yep.
Could have just left Hulk alone how he wanted.
You get the direct quote, and I use that very loosely, from Nolan North as Deadpool doing "die, die, die, die," which was something, if you played that game, you heard that a lot, because you would just, if you're sitting on your triggers, that was what was happening, is he would just start screaming that as he was shooting people. So also, I think that was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I don't think I played that.
Deadpool. When you were Deadpool, that was in there, I think.
Man, I need to go
I
back.
want to say it was his, like, one of his ultimate moves or special moves.
I don't even remember him being in that game.
He was in was he a downloadable character? All I remember is the end of his special, he took his health bar and hit you with it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Those Capcom fighting games give me so much anxiety. And then
I love him.
My background literally gives you anxiety every time we record. Done.
Just the idea of, like, because, like, I Cammy, if you're listening to this, like, love you, but, like, oh my god, because she's like, oh, I love it, and then I watched her play those things, like, like when Zach Galifianakis becomes like a savant in Hangover. Like, I watched Cammy, like, dial into those games, like, how are you keeping track with this? And it was whenever Marvel vs. Capcom had, like, the partners in it.
Well, they all, I think.
Do they all do?
They all have them.
Because the only one I've ever played was the Children of the Atom, and I don't think it really had the partners in it.
No, that was because that was just the X-Men fighting game. When it became Marvel versus, that's where partners got introduced.
And that's like doing, like, calculus in real time. Like, it was wild. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, for sure. Heavy contributor, probably the intense ADHD.
Hulk and Logan start to square off. There's a chase, and Deadpool's like, "Oh, we really we did it. We like, they're partners again, like, because Deadpool's just that stupid in this version of the character." And then Wolverine throws Deadpool to the Hulk, which is what we all would want to do, honestly.
Is this before or after the random Deathstrike Hulk showdown where they kind of just...
Right before, because he specifically calls Deathstrike ugly girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah, they have, like, a really hilariously weird random, like, screaming in each other's face match.
Yeah, so there's a thunderclap,
Yeah.
cleavage, yelling, and then an arm rip. Like, it was... Like, I don't love to put down individual fight moves, but it was such a weird fight, I had to write it down.
It was a pretty interesting sequence. I didn't use thunderclap. That's a way more official term. I used the forward B Donkey Kong from Super Smash Brothers. The smash attack. And then I wrote titties. Because, that's exactly what happened.
I thought that they were going to go that far, because, like, it started blowing her clothes away, and I was like, oh my god, are they going to go full anime here? Like,
Yeah. For a moment, you think it. You're like, whoa, wait a second. They're going to pop out right now. They hold it for just enough for it to be, I'm just like...
They emphasized it for that little second, yeah.
They heavily emphasized it.
I do like the screaming match, though, because Deathstrike, I didn't think about it until that moment, but I was like, yeah, Deathstrike, one of her, besides her claw hands, for me was one of her characteristics is she always holds this anger in, and the only thing that, like, doesn't make her like kind of a Hulk angry, is that she does get to lash out every once in a while, but also like the upbringing that her father and like the Japanese culture at the time that she grew up in was kind of like, be demure till you kill someone, you know?
You get a great moment where like Omega Red starts to like come back and Hulk literally jumps off of him, which turns him to mush, presumably. Hulk starts tearing apart the building, and Wolverine gets excited, and then he realizes that like he's gonna take one of the supports and throw it at him. And from that, Logan lands like in the snow by Sabretooth.
Yeah, just right perfectly by Sabretooth, which now that he's dead makes it that much kind of just weirder that he's just like, fact, I don't know why I'm laughing at the fact that he is.
I love the fact that this is like supposedly canon because we haven't gotten him in the show yet. Like, if we don't get a Sabretooth through this entire season, that meant that Sabretooth died in this not for TV cartoon movie.
Yeah.
But they got to be together one last time.
Yeah.
The universe always brings them together.
It just always does.
Which then the Hulk jumps out, lands right next to Wolverine, and Wolverine gives the smirk of like, all right, let's fucking go. And then there's the slow-mo of the two of them jumping towards each other. Yeah. And then it just cuts to fucking credits, and it's the biggest cock tease ending of episode.
Yeah, very Rocky 2 kind of weird.
And I thought that's where it was going to pick up. Spoiler, it doesn't pick up from there in the episode. Did you catch the after credits?
Yes, there is an after credits. Pablo, did you watch the after credit?
No, I didn't even know there's.
Sorry, I should have told you there was an after credit. That's my bad.
I tried to jump off it. I was like, all right, this was, it's not. This is the third time I'm watching it now because I had to kind of watch it twice to be like, okay, is there anything that I missed?
There is an after credit, so.
No. Oh.
Yep.
It's Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's alive. And then he's not.
Yeah, he's like, thank God I'm alive. And then Hulk like bounces off of him.
Yep.
Better than the end credits of the other Wolverine thing that came out, I guess, with the shushing Deadpool. Deadpool 2 end credit scenes in 1 year.
Yep.
There's a big Deadpool year, we didn't even realize it. Okay, yeah, there's the whole...
It was more of like a comedic little button.
So that's how the episode ended. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, like, because it doesn't feel complete. I felt like we never got the full narrative of it. It was like, this was an act in a story, but it was not a full story for me.
Like, I get the movie aspect for the violence because there needed to be so much, like, this would not have read in like a TV episode, if they had to censor everything. But
especially on Nickelodeon where Wolverine and the X-Men was airing. Yeah.
Yeah. But
was it airing on Nickelodeon?
Wolverine and the X-Men was on Nickelodeon.
Wow.
But as far as like story goes, like this was less of a story, I would argue, than a lot of the series shows.
Oh yeah.
But the fighting was incredible. Like the choreography and like you said, like some of the cinematography they did in it, the choices they made of shots and stuff.
So a few people to be aware from the voice cast. Like I said, the Hulk voice actor is also the same one who is in Wolverine and the X-Men, but he has been in a ton of things as the Hulk's voice. Most recently, Marvel Rivals, he is the Hulk voice. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is the same universe as this show. The Hulk in Midnight Suns, as well as Agents of Smash. So he is like the Hulk voice guy, essentially. The voice of Deathstrike was Taryn from X-Men Evolution.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That poor
Scott's sort of girlfriend girl. Nolan North is the voice of Cyclops in Wolverine and the X-Men. So he's in this twice.
Okay.
Really weird thinking that Deadpool is the same voice actor as Scott Summers.
Yeah.
So, yep. Like I said, online, they said that this was like partially inspired by Hulk 181. I respectfully disagree with that.
I hope that we actually get that Hulk 181, just an accurate animated version. I would have really been into that just for the weird.
So the one that we're talking about next week, it's not 100% accurate to it, but it is much tighter to it. So So I invited you on the wrong episode. Is basically what happened.
The cryptid with the Canadian cryptid
With the Wendigo, yep.
with the Wendigo is in
Yep.
the episode. All right. All right.
Yep. Other trivia on this, as mentioned, same universe as Wolverine and the X-Men, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and then apparently there was a Thor show that I didn't know existed called Thor: Tales of Asgard.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yep. Both of you giving the that's a thing is not speaking well to the quality of that show, basically.
I guess to be fair though, I didn't know about this movie either. So
True. And then the last one is that apparently the voice actors for both the Hulk voice, not the Banner voice, as well as Wolverine, were apparently recording their lines together in a recording studio, and people got worried that they were getting very heated with each other as they were in character.
they're actually arguing in real life.
Yeah. So
That adds to it.
well, I mean, you have a guy who is essentially, like I said, I think this was Steven's 5th or 6th time portraying Wolverine. You have the guy who is Hulk in perpetuity, essentially, in a room together. It's like, maybe if they really do hate each other, that just adds to the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have no beef with everything is great about this except for the fact that they just don't actually tell you any kind of story. Aside from Wolverine is here to try to hunt down the Hulk, leave Hulk alone.
And Sabretooth is not here anymore.
To death.
Punched to death in a single hit.
Just the fact that they show him too, if he's actually dead, and the fact that they just show him there in the background.
There's a body there.
Lifeless. Like, why would you even do that? We saw it the first time. Why does he have to land? They land right next to it again and just don't acknowledge it. It's just there.
To remind you that he's dead.
Oh, by the way, he's dead.
He's super dead. Yep.
I wish maybe there's a deleted scene where he's like, I'm gonna check his pulse. Yep, he's dead.
Or Wolverine taps him once or twice and then just claws his forehead just to be sure.
Yeah, dead.
Oh.
Good job.
I like this as a bonus episode. I am happy that this is not full 100% canon one of the episodes of Wolverine and the X-Men. Because this needed to be brutal and bloody, and what we get in the next episode, I started wishing for the violence because we don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. I had a lot of fun with it because it was action packed, but it's not a whole lot of story to, remember. Other, like you said, Sabretooth's dead. Weapon X happened.
I mean,
Deadpool
you could say it's an act, or maybe even it's the first 2 acts, but you didn't get a conclusion to this damn thing. So yeah, it just feels incomplete. Like this should have had another 10 minutes added to it. So
actually, the thing part I mind the least is the weird Rocky ending.
fair.
It's exactly what it is. Such a late 80s freeze frame. All the tropes were here, man.
Oh, they definitely hit the tropes. They got more iconic lines in this movie than any single episode of any of the series, I feel like. So, yeah. So, that is our recap of a thing that hopefully you'll be able to find and watch on certain websites. Not on Disney Plus. We're not adding links, but we're not very subtle about where you can find it. So,
No, find it on physical media. All right? They can't... When the internet's gone, the physical media will survive, boys.
Except for the disc rot.
Well,
let's see. Is it available on DVD right now off of Amazon? It is on Blu-ray.
yeah.
Oh, but it's PEGI format, so it's a UK Blu-ray, but it's only $18. So I'll throw the link in our description. There is only 4 left on Amazon at the time of this recording.
There's about to be 3 left.
I still have the DVD at my mom's house, across the country. I know the shelf it's sitting on. And I was like, oh, I don't need to bring that back to Los Angeles with me because we have Disney Plus and Amazon and Tubi. I never thought I would be grateful for Tubi, and then I was quickly not grateful for Tubi again. So,
Wow.
well, Pablo, thank you for joining us. A reminder, where can people find you on stuff?
Deeper Issues Nerdcast everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram.
Hopefully TikTok by the time this goes live.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Who knows? They're gonna, what they're gonna do. They're gonna be like, oh, it's gone. It's back again.
After they fire a lot of people.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people just got laid off. So it's not.
Oh, did
it's
they?
not boding well for the April 5th date.
There's gonna be some funny business that happens with it, but there's too many people's pockets that want to be filled up with all that TikTok money. I'm not
It's
talking
true.
about creators either.
Yeah. Rod, final thoughts?
Yeah, I dug it. Lots of cool fights. I don't know if I will be shelling out the $18 for a Blu-ray from the UK for it, but it's fun to watch.
Oh yeah, that one doesn't come with free Prime shipping.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But thank you all for joining us. If you like what you heard, please, I could almost get through that without fucking it up. We'd appreciate a rating on the podcast app of your choosing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, and CastBox. And if you have any thoughts, make sure you drop them to either the YouTube upload, the official Instagram for this episode, or the Spotify comments section, which most people don't know is a thing, but it is.